What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be doing a fun little kind of controversial video. Alright, so we're getting a little wild. I am the worst storytime teller ever. I can tell good stories when I'm with you in person, but like when I turn on the camera, I just can't do it. It's like my chip just glitches. It's hard. I don't know who is controlling me in my simulation, but like they need to chill out because I literally cannot tell stories for the life of me. So if you're looking for a storytime YouTuber, please don't subscribe. Yeah, so anyway, so today, as you can tell by the title, I'm gonna be going back in time to some experiences with my old teachers. So, obviously bad ones, because why would I be talking about good ones, because obviously it's not interesting. Yeah. What's the tea, sis? Well, let me tell you. Anyways, let's just go ahead and jump on into the video. It is lit every day, bro.
That was literally supposed to be a fist pump, and it did not look like that. I don't know what happened there, but that was really tragic. I'm sorry you had to see that and witness that. But yeah.
So you know how the Jake Paulers do it. We out here being just like them. I don't know what I'm saying. I actually wrote down a list because I knew I was going to forget because I'm so bad at stories. But I literally could start from like first grade with my terrible stories. I was very problematic in elementary school, but like that's a whole nother story time. So I feel like I need to like separate these videos and do like middle school teacher experiences, and then eventually I will do like a elementary school like childhood story time, because I feel like those are very different stories because I had a bunch of other stuff going on in elementary school that's like different. These are mainly just like the teachers themselves. I thought this was very appropriate because I actually start school tomorrow, so yeah, it's gonna be really fun and fresh, and I'm kind of scared about it, but it's fine. Let's start with 6th grade. So if you, probably like people I know are going to be watching this, and if you were in this class, what is up? Hello, you're already going to know the story. It literally wasn't that deep, sis. Like, I don't know what crack you were smoking, but like it literally was not that big of a deal. But me and my family blew it out of proportion because we're just cool like that. Like, I have always been the kid that like never got in trouble. Like, I never got lunch detention. I never got suspended. I never got referrals. Like, I was so good. Like, I never did anything wild. And I still don't. Like, I'm still like a good kid. I barely talk in class and stuff. That's actually a fat lie. Like, obviously if I have friends, I'm gonna talk in class. But like, I'm just very reserved and like to myself. So it was never really an issue for me. I was not really a problem child. So whenever I got in trouble, especially in middle school, it was like the end of the world. Like, I would cry. Like, I would be so upset, you know? Like, that was my breaking point. Like, if I got in trouble, that meant I was like, my life was over, you know? So let me give you the tea, sis. So I'm not gonna name names, even though I'm so tempted to. I'm not gonna name names of the teacher. I don't think I really need to say names, but I'm just gonna go with it. If I feel like I need to make up a name, I'm just gonna make it up as we go. It all started because one day we had these little notebooks and we had to take notes in them, obviously. That's why they're notebooks. And we all sat in like groups. Like, there was tables of like 4 of us. Like, we all sat in a little like pod. And this one kid was a problem child. If you went to my elementary, okay, love that. The stroke jumped out. So if you went to my middle school, you kind of knew that like he was problematic. And he actually got expelled in 7th grade, so that's really funny. But he knew my 6th grade math teacher, and they were like friends because they like, I don't know, they were just like family friends. And so my math teacher knew he was problematic, but he was very biased towards him because they knew each other, which was so unfair looking back on that. I'm like, how was that legal? Like, sis really, he was actually separated from all of the other groups. Like, he wasn't in a group because he was so problematic. He literally had to sit on his own. So he literally was sitting, like, we had our table here, and then like his desk was like right next to my group, and so he was basically sitting next to me, but like he wasn't in our group. And we all had a little like box in the center of our desks with like school supplies, like colored pencils, like glue, tape. We had to tape in this thing in our notebook, and so I was getting out the tape from the bin, and here comes the problematic child that sits next to me, and he just stands up and takes the tape out of my hand, and like I was holding it. I didn't even care, like it wasn't a big deal. He could have just taken the tape and used it and it would have been fine. But then my whole group, like me and my whole group were like, oh my god, like, and then we said his name like loudly, like we were just like, hey, I'm just gonna call him Fred because I feel like I do need to say his name, so we're gonna call him Fred. We were like, oh my god, Fred, and we're like mad at him, not really like genuinely mad, but we were just like, really, like why did you take the tape, like we're all trying to use it here, like get, like we all had to share the supplies, it was fine, but like he took it out of my hands, that was kind of unnecessary. And I didn't even care, I was just gonna let him use the tape. And then because we were kind of making a scene out of it, like wasn't really a scene, but like we just were kind of loud, my teacher like perked up and he was like, oh my god, what's going on, you know? And he was like, he like comes over and he's like, out in the hall, both of you. And I'm like, excuse me, what? I get up, go outside, and at first he seemed mad at Fred. He seemed like he was like ready to like expel him, and I was like, ha. So then he separates us, talks to us outside the hallway. He's like, so what happened? And then I'm like, it was literally not that deep. Like, sis, all I did was like try to tape something in my notebook, and he took it from me. And he was like, well, Fred told me a different side of the story. He told me that you were being spiteful and malicious, and you were trying to tape something in your notebook before he could get the tape. Like you were purposely trying to get the tape before he could. Like, and I was like, is this second grade? Like, sis, it doesn't matter. And I was like, well, I didn't. Like, he grabbed out of my hands and I'm not even mad at him. Like, it's not a big deal. And then he was like, well, because I don't really know what happened, I'm just gonna give both of you silent lunch. And I was like, and I like almost started crying because I felt so embarrassed. He literally called me out in front of the class. I had to go outside like I was in trouble, like I did something wrong. So long story short, my parents and my teacher got in a fight because of this, and so now he basically freaking hates me. Like I'm so glad that I haven't had to see him. The rest of the year, like, he hated me. He literally was, like, so sarcastic and rude to me. And then literally, like, 8th grade, like, I remember going in and taking pictures for a yearbook, and he, like, looked me up and down, and he was like, do it fast. And I was like, sis, I don't understand why it was so deep. Like, your favorite kid is literally expelled now. Like, he doesn't even go to school anymore because he's expelled. So you still think I'm the bad kid? Like, check again. He's probably a conservative and Republican and crusty, so I don't really care, but end of story, he was freaking problematic and I don't like him. So the next one, I don't have anything else really from 6th grade besides the fact that like my science teacher hated me because I was hated by a lot of teachers and I don't know why. But like, I remember one time I put like no effort into this project because I didn't know it was supposed to be done a certain way. And like, I didn't think it was going to be that deep. I didn't think it was like a really big deal. And then I go to class and she is like, this is so boring. Like, you could have been so much more creative. Like, you have so much more potential. Like, I'm so disappointed in you. Like, oh my god, like, you're a YouTuber. Like, why don't you have... So 7th grade. Oh, this. Okay, so everybody knows the one teacher. I really want to say her name. She was the old math teacher of 7th grade, and she's retired now actually, which is like kind of annoying because like I had to deal with her and people don't. But everybody hated her. She wore the same dresses all the time. Old and annoying and like, oh my god. She gets me hated about a lot of things. She also very much hated me because I like was just, I kind of like purposely was annoying to her. She used to correct my grammar all the time. Like I have the worst grammar in the world if you don't know me. Like I literally don't care about grammar. But like one time I literally said like, can I move desks? And she was like, and I was like, and she was like, and I was like, may I move desks? And she was like, okay. I'm like, sis, is it that deep? So this is the story that really set it off for me. This is why I hate her so much. So one day, I was coming back from related arts, which was like it was strings class when I did the cello, and I like was so far away from like her classroom. Like I was all the way across the school, and at the time it was like a kind of a long walk for me. Like now that I'm at a bigger school, I'm like used to it, but at the time like it was hard for me to do that. So I had to pee so bad, and I was also on my period, so I had to change my my little lady part. That sounded so wrong. I had to change my pad, and I didn't have time because one, I didn't even have time to pee, but then if I tried to change my pad, I would have been so late, and then she would not even let me in the door because she doesn't like take tardies. And she was literally like, I got in the classroom and I was like, I didn't have enough time to use the restroom before class because I come across the school, like I didn't want to be late. Can I go use the restroom? And she was like, no, why didn't you do it before class? And I'm like, because I would have been late. Like, I literally just said that. And then she was like, well,
I can't let you go right now because you really need to plan out when you use the bathroom before you come to class. It's a disruption.
I'm like, class hasn't even started yet. Like, the bell literally just rang. Like, just let me go. And I wanted to, like, I said something like, I really need to go. Like, if not, can I go to the nurse? Because I knew maybe then she would take the hint, like, you're supposed to always let girls go to the bathroom when they ask you to, because she still didn't get the hint. I was like, I get it, you're old and you don't have a period anymore, sis, but like, I'm gonna bleed on your floor. And then she was like, okay, well, you can go, but I can't sign you a pass, so if you get in trouble, it's not my fault. And I'm like, okay, nobody freaking checks our passes anyways. Like, I'm not gonna get in trouble. So I left. I knew she thought I wasn't gonna do it, but I did it anyways because I'm just such a rebel. And then I like peed and nobody stopped me because like, obviously, but then I peed and then it worked, and I got that all figured out. From that day, she used to tease me all the time. Like, every single time I would come into class, she'd be like, did you use the restroom, Emily? I'm like, it was a one-time thing. Like, calm down. Another story with her was one time, I'm like getting heated talking about this. I love talking about this. One time, we had to get like a split class. I was in science, and she was not there that day, so I had to go to another, like, she didn't have a sub and she wasn't there, so she had to split up our classes. So I had to go to this math teacher again. She was my teacher at the time still, so it wasn't like she was like not my teacher anymore, but like, I had to go to her class twice that day, which was freaking annoying. But I had to sit in there, and my science teacher gave us an assignment to do while she was gone, and I had finished the assignment like halfway through the class, and I was bored because I didn't like bring my, like, I didn't have a book to read or anything. So I was just doodling in my agenda, like hoping she wouldn't notice, because like nobody else was really doing anything, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna like get in trouble. I'm not in her class, like she can't yell at me. And she yelled at me in front of her whole entire like 6th period class, I think is what it was. And she literally like stood up and like came over to me, and I like was just in my own world. I didn't even see her walking towards me because I had my back facing towards her, and she comes walking over and she rips my agenda out of my hands, and she's like, why aren't you doing your work? You should be doing your work. Like, stop doodling in your agenda. This is not on the list of what you're supposed to do. And I was like, I finished my work. Like, do you want to see it? And the whole class was silent and like looking at me. And I was like, here's my work. And she was like, if you have nothing else to do, then you should just redo the assignment over and over again until the class period's over. Like, what? What crack was she on? What? Sis, I don't know. Oh my god, I have so many stories. Okay, I have 2 more, I think. Also, everybody kind of knows that my 8th grade science teacher was an experience. She used to tell people to stop being disrespectful for not standing for the pledge, and she used to be like, I have a cousin that serves in the military. I can't believe that you would not stand for the pledge. I feel like the reason this was before any of the like Charlottesville thing happened, and before any of that was like an issue, and people didn't stand for the pledge because they like didn't believe in God. They didn't, because the pledge says like one nation under God. So some people just didn't stand or didn't say it because they like didn't believe in it. And like that's just kind of like a rule in school that you're not allowed to tell a kid they have to stand because it's like their choice. She used to like indirect people all the time about not standing. And then after Trump got elected, like, because I remember the day after I went back to school after election day and he got elected, I didn't stand for the pledge, and she literally like made a comment that day. She was like, and she didn't even say it to my face, she was just like, I find it very disrespectful that people wouldn't stand for the pledge because I have a cousin that's in the military. And I'm like, so on another note, one day, well, she was just a terrible teacher. She used to never teach us like anything. Like, she would literally just tell us she didn't want to like teach us that day. Like, she would just put in like a Phil Nye video and we would just like watch Phil Nye Science Guy instead of like doing a PowerPoint. Like, she was a terrible teacher. And so like one day we had like a test that like she canceled, and I studied so long for it. Like, I studied that night like so much, and I was like really prepared for the test, and then she canceled it. and made the test like the next day or like the day after that. And I was like, I just spent like all my night last night studying for this test. And then she used to do a bunch of other stuff. So that was like the line for me. So me and my friend Alexia, I got you girly if you're watching this, we actually went to the guidance counselor to like talk about it because we were like, okay, this is annoying. Like, she needs to like be better. And we complained about that and they like talked to her, and then the next day, she's legally not even supposed to say anything. The next day she's like, so I heard that somebody complained about the fact that I moved the test and my teaching strategies, and I was really just trying to help you guys out. I do so much for this class. I have so many family issues right now. Like, this class is just the last thing that I need complaints from. Clearly, like, I was the one that complained. Like, me and my friend were the ones that were complaining. I just sat there like no emotion on my face because I did not want her to think that it was me. And then everybody in the class was like, who did it? Who did it? And like, I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to be that kid that like told on her. And she was also just really mean to me. Like, she freaking hated me. I know she did. And she's also just like a crackhead. Like, I just don't like her. Like, she's literally a crackhead. Like, it's just, if you have family issues, then like, why are you still teaching? Like, why are you still trying to keep up with this class? Like, I understand if you have things going on in your life, but like, this is your job. Do you want to get fired? Like, I'm trying to not have a D in your class. Like, I need good grades. So that is the tea on that, sis. I'm outie. Honestly, that was kind of gave me a migraine because I'm like heated about it now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe, turn on the bell for notifications. I love you so freaking much, and I will see you in my next video. Which actually is going to be a first day of school vlog, so like exciting. Yeah, I love you guys so much. Bye. Mwah.